I never thought a single toast could break a family, mine did. On New Year's Eve, standing under warm lights and glittering decorations, I watched my dad lift his glass like he was about to announce something joyful. Instead, he looked straight at me and delivered a command that sliced through the room like a cold blade. "Your sister's overwhelmed, Emily. You'll be paying her rent from now on. Simple as that." Before I could breathe, he added louder, firmer, "And if you say no, don't come back." Everyone froze. My sister, Olivia, didn't protest. My mom looked away. My cousins fell silent. It wasn't a request, it was an ambush. So I raised my own glass, felt my hand tremble, and said the words that would flip my entire family inside out. Then goodbye, and good luck paying your problems. What came after? No one was prepared for. The glass stem dug into my fingers as I stood there, forcing myself to smile even though my pulse was pounding in my ears. It was supposed to be a celebration, new beginnings, new promises. Instead, my dad had turned it into a public trial. "Dad," I said slowly, "what are you talking about?" He looked at me like I was being deliberately difficult. "You heard me, Emily. Your sister is drowning. She has 2 kids, she's exhausted, and she needs help. I've been helping," I said. "Groceries, school supplies, emergencies." Mom cut in sharply. "Not enough." The room tensed. I could see Olivia, my beautiful, fragile older sister, biting her lip like she was the victim of all victims. "Liv," I said gently, "is this what you want?" She didn't answer. She didn't even look at me. Dad lifted his glass again. "This family supports each other. And you," he pointed at me, "make more than all of us. You should be stepping up." There it was. Not love, not unity, just expectation, obligation, entitlement dressed up as family duty. I felt the heat rise in my throat. Paying her rent every month? Dad, that's not support, that's dependency. His jaw tightened. "If you're not willing to help your own sister, then don't call yourself part of this family." Mom sucked in a breath. A few relatives stared at their shoes. The silence was suffocating. I whispered, "You're blackmailing me." Dad slammed his glass down so hard, wine splashed onto the tablecloth. "Make your choice." And something inside me snapped quietly, cleanly. I lifted my glass. My voice didn't shake. "Then goodbye and good luck paying your own problems." A sound rippled through the room, shock, disbelief, someone gasping. I put the glass down. Didn't drink. Didn't wait. I walked toward the front door, past my stunned family, ignoring Olivia's sudden sob, Mom's sharp inhale, Dad's furious muttering. I didn't even take my coat. The cold outside hit my skin like freedom. But what I didn't know, what none of them knew, was that this moment was only the spark. The firestorm came after. The next morning, sunlight spilled across my kitchen counter like nothing had happened, like my entire life hadn't cracked open the night before. But my phone told the truth. 7 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Dad, 5 from Olivia. A string of texts so long it looked like a scroll. I didn't open a single one. I just brewed coffee, sat down, and tried to breathe. But the moment the steam hit my face, the phone buzzed again, this time a voicemail from Dad. His voice was sharp, controlled anger simmering beneath every word. "Emily, your behavior last night was unacceptable. You humiliated your mother. You embarrassed Olivia. We expect you to apologize today. Apologize. For refusing to become the family's ATM." I put the phone face down. Not even 5 minutes later, my doorbell rang aggressively. I froze. Then it rang again. Longer, louder. Peeking through the peephole, I saw a familiar figure pacing on my porch. Olivia. Her hair was messy. Her jacket half-zipped like she'd rushed out of the house in a panic. I cracked the door an inch. She pushed it open and stepped inside without waiting. "Liv, seriously?" She shut the door behind her and turned to me with red-rimmed eyes. "Why did you do that last night?" I folded my arms. "Because I'm done being cornered." Her lip trembled. "You made Dad furious. He barely slept," Mom cried. "Everyone is talking about you." "Good," I said softly. "They've been talking about me for years whenever they needed money." She flinched. "That's not fair. Isn't it?" "Liv, I've helped you more than anyone. I've paid bills you never even thanked me for." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Emily, I'm overwhelmed. I am. I'm not pretending. I can't do this alone." And I'm not your parent, I replied gently. I can't fix your life for you. She shook her head, panic creeping into her voice. Dad said you should at least help until I get back on my feet. I stared at her. How long have you been getting back on your feet? 2 years? Her jaw tightened, but she didn't deny it. I stepped closer. Liv, what happened last night wasn't about you being overwhelmed. It was about them deciding my boundaries for me. It wasn't like that, she whispered. It was exactly like that. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The quiet between us felt heavier than the shouting had last night. Then she said something so soft I almost missed it. Dad said, if you won't do your part, then maybe you shouldn't come to family events anymore. I let the words hang. There it was. The real threat. The real punishment. Full exile. I took a slow breath. Then maybe I won't. She gasped like I'd slapped her. Please. Don't do this. Don't walk away. I looked her right in the eyes. I'm not walking away, Liv. I'm stepping out of a cage. She covered her mouth, stunned. Then, without another word, she opened the door and slipped out into the cold morning air. When the door clicked shut behind her, the silence felt different than before. It wasn't empty. It felt like the first breath after surfacing from deep water, painful, sharp, necessary. But I didn't know yet that the real backlash had only begun. By noon, the group chat my family used for every holiday, birthday, and barbecue lit up like a wildfire. I wasn't surprised. I just wasn't prepared for how far they'd go. Mom, Emily, your sister is in tears. You owe her an apology. You owe me an apology. Dad, we didn't raise you to be selfish. Step up. Aunt Linda, your mother is devastated. Fix this. Cousin Matt, this is embarrassing for all of us. Head of the Mindations. Not a single message asked if I was okay. Not one person wondered why I had walked out. I didn't reply. I didn't even open the thread again. But they weren't done. At 1:14 p.m., my phone buzzed again, this time a long, formal texted paragraph from my mother, like she was writing a complaint email to customer service. Emily, your father and I have supported you your whole life. Through college, through heartbreaks, through every mistake you've made. We expected you to act like family. Olivia is struggling in ways you cannot comprehend. When family falls, we lift one another, not abandon them at the bottom. Please reconsider. This isn't about money. It's about being a decent human. I laughed. Out loud. Not because it was funny, but because it was so painfully predictable. A knock rattled the door. This time I looked through the peephole before opening it. Mom. Her arms were crossed, lips pressed tight. Her expression the same one she wore when I was a child and forgot to clean my room. I opened the door just enough to block her entrance. Her eyes narrowed. So you're really doing this? I'm setting boundaries, I said. Something this family isn't used to. She scoffed. Boundaries? Please. You embarrassed us. At a holiday. In front of everyone. You ambushed me, I fired back. You and Dad planned that entire speech. Her brows shot up. We planned nothing. Mom, everyone in that room already knew. Olivia didn't even blink. Mom opened her mouth, closed it again. I'd hit the truth too cleanly. She recovered quickly. Your sister needs help. You make the most. So, you help the most. It is a lest of Nister Wardy. I felt my chest tighten. That's not how adulthood works. She leaned closer, her voice low and sharp. If you walk away from this family, don't expect us to still welcome you, like before. There it was. The final push. The thread of emotional exile. Mom, I said quietly, if my membership in this family depends on how much money I hand over, then I was never part of it to begin with. Her face froze. You're being dramatic, she hissed. And you're being manipulative, I shot back. So yes, maybe we're finally saying things honestly. She drew in a breath, trembling with frustration. Your father is furious. You should be ashamed. I'm not, I said, not even a little. Her eyes glistened not from sadness but from anger edged with fear. You're choosing pride over family. No, I whispered. I'm choosing myself. For a second, for the briefest flicker, I saw realization in her eyes. The recognition that I was no longer the child she could guilt or shame into submission. Then it vanished. Fine, she spat. But don't come crying to us when you regret this. She turned and walked down the porch steps, her heels clicking like gunshots on concrete. When she reached her car, she threw one last look over her shoulder, cold, disappointed, punishing. The door closed on its own weight when she left. I stood there for a while, staring at the empty street, trying to understand how a family could twist love into chains so effortlessly. But the day wasn't done with me. Because an hour later, Dad called. And that call changed everything. Dad never calls me. Texts? Yes. Orders? Absolutely. But calling? That only happened when something was serious, really serious. His name flashed across my screen at exactly 3:07 p.m. For 3 rings, I stared at it. On the 4th, I answered, Emily. His voice was flat, cold like polished steel. We need to talk, I swallowed. About what? The ambush? The manipulation? Which part? Don't get smart with me, he snapped. You embarrassed this family last night. I protected myself. You humiliated your mother. You weaponized a holiday toast? You walked out of your own family, he continued, talking over me. Do you have any idea how that looked? Yes, I said, like someone finally said no. There was a heartbeat of stunned silence long enough for me to know he wasn't expecting resistance. Then he exhaled sharply. Emily, you make good money. More than any of us ever have. Helping Olivia is the right thing to do. I've been helping her, I said. For years, quietly, consistently. Not enough, he growled. She's struggling. So am I snapped, then sighed. Not financially, but emotionally, mentally. I'm tired of carrying adults who refuse to carry themselves. His voice dropped to a low, dangerous rumble. Your sister is a mother of 2. She's doing her best. She's doing nothing, I said softly. She hasn't worked in 17 months. She refuses therapy. She refuses childcare programs. She refuses budgeting classes. A mother needs support, he thundered. And a daughter needs respect, I fired back. Silence again. But this time it was different, hotter, heavier. Dad finally said, Your mother and I talked. If you're not willing to do your part, there will be consequences. And this clears into they heard, could Maine made us now. My stomach tightened. What kind? You won't be invited to family events until you apologize and agree to step up. I laughed, a short, sharp sound. Step up? Dad, you're not asking me to help. You're ordering me to take responsibility for Olivia's life, if that's what it takes, he said. Yes, something inside me froze. Wow, I whispered. You really mean that? I do. So everything you've ever taught me, independence, hard work, owning your choices, none of that applies to Olivia? That's different, he snapped. She has kids. And because I don't, my money is free for the taking. The family needs you, he said. Don't be dramatic. I felt something cold and clear settle inside me, the same feeling I had when I walked out the night before. Dad, I said quietly, you don't want a daughter. You want a provider. You're being ridiculous, he barked. No, I said. I'm finally seeing things clearly. His breath hissed through the line. If you walk away from this, if you turn your back on us, don't expect us to welcome you back. Don't expect us to support you in the future. Don't expect this family to be there for you. There it was. The full exile. The punishment. The consequence he believed would break me. But instead of fear, I felt relief. Dad, I said, you can't exile someone who's already left. For a moment, just a moment, he was speechless. Then he growled. You'll regret this. Maybe, I replied. But I'll regret losing myself more. Emily, don't do this. I already did, and I ended the call. My hand trembled as I set the phone down, but not from sadness, from adrenaline, from clarity, from a freedom I hadn't felt in years. But the universe was far from done. 10 minutes later, Olivia sent a message to the group chat, a single photo. A photo that would turn the entire situation radioactive and drag me back into the chaos I thought I just escaped. The notification hit my phone like a siren. Olivia, family group chat. I can't believe this is happening. Attached, a photo of an eviction notice taped to her apartment door. Bold, red, screaming. Below it, a caption dripping with martyrdom. Some people turn their backs when you need them the most. And then, ping, 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 ping. The family exploded. Aunt Linda, oh my God, Liv, why didn't you say something? Mom, this is exactly what I warned Emily about. Cousin Matt. Unbelievable. Family should step up. Dad. Emily. Are you seeing this? My stomach twisted. Not because of the eviction, I already knew it was coming, but because Olivia was doing exactly what I feared she would. Weaponizing victimhood. Publicly vilifying me. Turning the entire family against me. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a private message from Olivia. You did this. I stared at the words, my pulse hammering. I typed back. No, Liv. You did this by refusing to take responsibility. Her reply was instant. Don't you dare talk to me about responsibility. You make 6 times what I do. You own a townhouse. I'm raising 2 kids alone. You're heartless, Emily. I clenched my jaw. Me. I've helped you for years. Quietly. Consistently. You never changed anything. You just depended on me more. I don't know was invaded. As it. Live. Because that's what family does. I stared at those words, capital letters, desperation, entitlement knotted together like a fist. I typed slowly. Family supports each other. They don't drain each other. She didn't respond. Not in private, but publicly? Oh yes. She posted the eviction notice on Facebook. Her caption read, "Being a single mom is hard. Being betrayed by your own blood is harder." And then she added a crying emoji. I threw my head back and groaned. It took 5 minutes for family friends to begin messaging me privately. Is this true? Why aren't you helping her? She's struggling. Not to judge, but she is your sister. I wanted to scream. Instead, I locked my phone, placed it on the table, and paced the living room until my anger felt hot enough to burn the walls. What hurt wasn't the lie. It was how easily our entire family swallowed it, how quickly they painted me the villain, how none of them questioned why I walked away in the first place. I was still pacing when my phone buzzed again. A FaceTime request. From Dad. Great. I answered. His face appeared red, furious, practically vibrating with rage. What did you do? He demanded. I didn't cause her eviction. I snapped. Her choices did. Don't you blame her? He thundered. She's a single mother. That's not a disability. I shot back. His nostrils flared. She needed help. I helped her for 17 months. Not enough. And that was it. The breaking point. Dad, I said quietly, you're not angry that Olivia is being evicted. You're angry that I stopped paying for her life. He pointed a shaking finger at the screen. You should be ashamed. No, I said. I'm free. Oh, you think you're strong? He barked. You think you're independent? Let's see how independent you feel when the entire family turns their back on you. I felt something inside me go still. Cold, clear, and done. Dad, I said. You already turned your back on me last night. He froze. I kept going. You didn't ask how I was doing. You didn't ask if I was overwhelmed. You didn't ask if I was okay. You looked at me and saw one thing. Money. His jaw worked, but no words came. And now that I've closed the bank, I added, you're all panicking. You are cruel, he hissed. Cruel. No, I said softly. Cruelty is forcing your daughter to financially raise another grown woman. His face burned with fury. You want to destroy this family? I'm trying to rebuild myself. You're dead to us, he spat. And he hung up. Just like that. Years of loyalty. Years of sacrifice. Years of being the dependable one. Cut clean. I stood there, staring at the black screen, my breath shaking. Then, a soft knock. I froze. Another knock. Gentler. Not Mom. Not Dad. Not Olivia. I opened the door, and there she was. Madison, my younger cousin. The quiet one. The one who never picked sides. Her eyes were wide, uncertain, and full of something I hadn't seen from anyone in my family. Fear, she whispered. You need to see what Grandma just posted. My blood ran cold. Because if Grandma was posting, this wasn't a family argument anymore. This was war. Madison's breath puffed in the cold air as she stood in my doorway, hands shoved deep into her jacket pockets. She wasn't dramatic, never had been. So the fear in her eyes jolted me harder than any of Dad's shouting. What happened? I asked. She hesitated. Grandma posted on Facebook. About you, and about Olivia. My heart dropped. If Grandma was posting publicly, then the situation wasn't just spiraling. It was detonating. I stepped aside. Come in. Madison shook her head. I don't want to get dragged into the middle, but You should read it before the rest of the family starts calling. Then she offered her phone, and there it was. A long, emotional paragraph written in Grandma's shaky typing, a combination of misplaced commas, dramatic pauses, and emotional manipulation disguised as wisdom. It read, "It breaks my heart to see how our family is falling apart. Olivia is a mother fighting for her children, and she has been left alone in her darkest hour. Emily has chosen money over blood. I raised my children and grandchildren to be there for each other, no matter the cost. I pray for healing, and I pray Emily finds compassion again." Below it were dozens of comments. Poor Olivia. Single moms have it so hard. Emily needs to remember who helped her grow up. This generation is so selfish. Family means sacrifice. Where did Emily go wrong? My jaw tightened so hard it hurt. Madison whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't want you to find out through someone else." I handed the phone back with a shaking breath. "Thank you for showing me." She tucked it away but didn't move. Do you want to talk?" "No," I said. "I want to scream." She gave a small, understanding smile. "I get it. But maybe you should post something too? Your side?" "No." I shook my head. "I'm not turning my personal boundaries into a public circus." Madison exhaled, relieved and worried at the same time. "Okay, but be careful. The family group chat is getting ugly." I stepped back inside and closed the door, leaning my head against the wood. My family wasn't just mad at me, they were rewriting the story, repainting me, reshaping the narrative into something easier to swallow. Emily equals selfish. Olivia equals victim. Dad and mom equals heartbroken parents. Grandma equals wise martyr. It was a script they all preferred. Cleaner, simpler, with me cast as the villain so they didn't have to examine their own failures. I sat on the couch, staring at nothing, trying to breathe past the tightness in my chest. That's when my phone buzzed again. "Olivia, happy now? Grandma's crying." I typed back instantly, "Stop weaponizing Grandma's emotions. You created this mess." "Olivia, you left me to drown." "Me? I threw you a rope. You let go and blamed me." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "If I lose the apartment, if the boys end up with nowhere to go, it'll be your fault." Something inside me cracked, not guilt, not sadness. Pure, white-hot anger. I called her. She answered on the first ring. "Don't ever," I said, trembling, "use your kids as emotional leverage against me." She choked out a sob. "I'm scared, Emily. You don't understand what it's like." "I do understand," I snapped. "I understand what it's like to carry everyone's burdens until you break. I understand being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who fixes everything while everyone else falls apart." She fell silent. "And I'm done," I said. "I'm done being the glue. I'm done being the bank. I'm done being the automatic safety net." "You're abandoning me," she whispered. "No," I said. "I'm giving you the chance to save yourself." For a moment, all I heard was her uneven breathing. Then she whispered, I can't do it alone." "You're not alone," I said. "You have mom, dad, grandma, programs, jobs, resources. You just want me, because I'm the easiest one to drain." She didn't deny it. The call ended with a soft click, no goodbye, no resolution. Just another fracture in a line of fractures stretching back years. I placed the phone on the table, feeling my pulse throb in my temples. But before I could fully process it, another notification flashed, from someone I never expected. A message from Ethan, my older cousin, the logical one, the one who rarely took sides. His text simply said, "We need to talk. There's something you don't know." And that was the moment the entire situation took a turn I couldn't have predicted. Ethan never messages anyone. In our family, he's the quiet observer, neutral, logical, emotionally untouchable. If he said we needed to talk, something was wrong. I texted back, "What's going on?" His reply came almost immediately. "Can I stop by?" My chest tightened. If he wanted to come in person, that meant this wasn't gossip. This was something heavier. "Yeah," I typed. "Come over." 15 minutes later, he knocked. Ethan stood in my doorway with a face I rarely saw on him, tension. Real tension. "Hey," I said. "Come in." He stepped inside, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm not staying long. I saw everything happening online, and I need you to hear something before this goes any further. I gestured toward the couch. Okay, what is it? He didn't sit. He stayed standing, like sitting down would make the truth too heavy to rise from. Emily, he started. This thing with Olivia. Your parents knew it was coming. The eviction notice. They knew before Christmas. My breath caught. What do you mean? He exhaled slowly. They knew she hadn't paid rent for months. They knew she was ignoring the landlord. They knew she wasn't working. They knew all of it. I stared. They told me nothing. Worse, he said softly. They told her not to tell you. My stomach dropped. Why? Ethan looked at me then, really looked, like he hated the words he was about to say. Because they wanted the crisis to hit at the right moment. During New Year's, during the toast, in public, when you'd feel trapped, when you'd be more likely to say yes. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. They orchestrated it? I whispered. Not orchestrated exactly, Ethan said carefully. But they saw it coming. They knew Olivia wouldn't change unless someone bailed her out. They were banking on you being that someone. I sank onto the couch. So it was never about helping her. It was about cornering me. Ethan finally sat beside me. I'm not defending them, but they honestly thought they were doing the practical thing, the family solution. Except, he winced. They put all the responsibility on the person who already carries the most. Accepting this prosby. I let out a bitter laugh. And they expected me to smile and accept it. Ethan nodded. They don't see how much they rely on you. Not financially, emotionally. You're the stable one, the consistent one, the one they assume will always say yes. My throat tightened. I'm tired of being that person. You should be, he said. You shouldn't have to sacrifice your peace for everyone else's convenience. I looked at him, surprised. You're really on my side? He gave a small, sad smile. I'm on the side of fairness, and none of this has been fair to you. For the first time in days, my chest loosened, not much, but enough to breathe. But Ethan wasn't finished. There's more. Of course there was. He leaned forward. Grandma's post? Mom asked her to write it. What? I whispered. She didn't want to, Ethan said. But your mom told her that unless the whole family saw how badly Olivia needed support, you wouldn't come around. She pressured her. My jaw clenched. Mom weaponized Grandma, again. And the Facebook posts? I asked. The comments? Ethan hesitated. They were trying to make you feel guilty, to push you back into the family narrative. They thought if everyone applied pressure, you'd fold. I covered my face with my hands. I can't believe this. He touched my shoulder gently. Emily, you're not crazy. You're not cruel. You're not selfish. You're the only one in this family who has boundaries. And that terrifies them. I lowered my hands. Thank you, I whispered, for telling me. I didn't want to get dragged in, he admitted. But watching everyone gang up on you while knowing the truth? I couldn't stay silent. At her meaty face, I swallowed hard. So, what do I do now? He stood up. What you're already doing, and that is? Protecting yourself, he said, and letting the rest of them deal with the consequences of their own choices. He walked to the door, paused, and turned back. And Emily? When they finally fall apart enough to face reality, that's when they'll come back to you for real. Not for money, for accountability. The door closed behind him. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel alone. I felt understood, validated, and ready. Ready for whatever storm was still coming. 3 days passed. 3 days of silence from my parents. 3 days of sporadic guilt texts from Olivia. 3 days of seeing Grandma's posts circle around the extended family like a bad rumor people couldn't get enough of. And 3 days of me refusing to break. Then, unexpectedly, a text arrived. From Mom. We want to talk. Come for dinner Sunday, please. No demands. No guilt-loaded paragraphs. Just that single word. Please. I stared at it for almost a full minute before replying. I'll come, but I won't be ambushed again. She answered with a simple, you won't. I didn't know if I believed her, but I went. Not for them. For me. When I arrived, the house looked smaller. Not physically, but emotionally, like all the noise that usually filled it had dimmed. The porch light glowed soft. The windows flickered with warm lamps. No shouting. No chaos. Inside, the dining table was already set. Dad sat at the head of the table, hands clasped tightly. Mom hovered near the stove, wiping her hands on a towel even though nothing was cooking. Olivia sat on the far side, hair pulled back, eyes swollen, 2 takeout bags in front of her like she brought food but wasn't sure she deserved a place at the table. The silence was thick, unspoken, uneasy. I cleared my throat. So, what's this? Dad gestured stiffly. Sit. I sat but at the end of the table, not next to anyone. Mom swallowed. We owe you an apology. My heart stopped. Olivia looked down at her hands. Dad didn't move. I waited. Mom continued, voice trembling. Things got out of control. We didn't mean for it to go that far. And what happened with the toast? She swallowed. We shouldn't have done it that way. I looked at her, steady. But you planned it. Dad flinched. Mom hesitated. Olivia whispered. We did. Finally. The truth. Olivia's voice cracked. I didn't want to lose the apartment. I panicked. I thought, if everyone saw how bad things were, you'd help again. Mom said it was the best chance. Mom closed her eyes, guilt pulling at her features. I pushed her. I shouldn't have. And, Grandma? I asked quietly. Dad rubbed his face. That was your mother's idea too. Olivia let out a shaky breath. I know I've leaned on you too much. I know I haven't tried hard enough. I know I've been unfair. And I'm sorry. There it was. The apology I never thought I'd hear, but I wasn't ready to let them off easily. I leaned forward. I'm done being the family bank. I'm done being guilted. I'm done being cornered. If I help anyone from now on, it's because I choose to, not because I'm manipulated. They nodded. All 3 of them, even Dad. He spoke next, voice low but sincere. You're right. We took you for granted. And I'm sorry I threatened you. That wasn't fair. The words were stiff, unpracticed, but real. Olivia wiped tears. I got a job, part-time, at a bakery. I start Monday. It's not much, but it's something. That hit me harder than anything else. Not because it solved everything, but because it was effort. Finally, effort. Mom reached for my hand but stopped halfway, unsure. We don't want money. We want to fix this. All of us. I pulled in a shaky breath, the tightness in my chest loosening for the first time since New Year's. We can fix things, I said, but only with honesty, and boundaries, and respect. Dad nodded. Agreed. Olivia whispered. I miss my sister. I paused, then quietly replied, I miss mine too. For the first time in a long time, it didn't feel like a trap. It didn't feel like a setup. It felt like a beginning. As I drove home that night, headlights sweeping across the quiet street, I realized something. Families don't break in one moment. They crack slowly. Under the weight of unspoken expectations, misplaced guilt, and years of someone carrying too much, while others carry nothing. But families don't heal in one moment either. They heal. In conversations that hurt, in truths that tremble, in apologies that shake, in boundaries that finally hold. And for the first time in years, I felt hope. Not because everything was fixed, but because, for once, I wasn't the only one trying.